Hello out there in YouTube land. Been a little while since I put a video up. Figured it's time to jump back in this thing for a little bit. So, been away for a little while. I spent a lot of time just fishing in the late summer to kind of enjoy that. I'd had COVID, which really hammered me most of August, put me down. I was just exhausted, didn't feel like getting anything done. Then I wanted to make the best of the summer that was left as I could, and hadn't really gone and taken the boat out fishing much of the first half, so I kind of hit that hard. And then with my son's birth upcoming, I made a big push to do a archery season for deer hunting here in Missouri to try and get a deer in the freezer, since he was due November 18th, and I was right in this deer season for firearm season. So I wanted to try and get the freezer filled before that came around, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get away for that. So I had success there. Got a little young buck to restock the meat reserves in the freezer, so that's great. And then decided to move on from the 57 project. I traded that car off for some items that I wanted, and some parts for the 55 and some other stuff, and cleared that out of my plate. I liked it a lot. It was a pretty cool car, but it was time to move that one on. I picked it up, and then it's like, well, I've got the 55 I need to get done, and then I've also got the thing I'll show here in a minute, my C10 that I've been working on for a couple of years, and kind of stopped and was working on other stuff like the 55 for quite a while. So 57's gone, got a new home, and I've taken up its space in the garage with my C10 project. So it is a unmitigated disaster in here at the moment. Just everything filled up. A couple days ago I went and put the I think I bought it for $50, a Craftsman snowplow that I adapted and made work and attached to the John Deere mower, so whenever the snow hits, I don't have to shovel a 150-foot long driveway anymore, because that's starting to get a little old. So still need to put some wheel weights on there, and I ordered up some tire chains, so that'll make it where it won't go sliding on down the hill and stuff. Hopefully I'll have enough traction. If not, I can always weld up a bracket and hang a couple of cinder blocks on the back. But it's taking up a little room here. I want to get that out of here eventually. But anyway, I'll do a little walk around to this pickup as an introduction. I'm going to make some videos as I'm working on this thing. Not quite as in-depth as I'd done on the 57, but touch on a few items. And just kind of get back in the flow of YouTube since I've been out of here for a while. So anyway, what I've got here is a 85 short bed. Whenever I bought it, it was a fleet side truck, and the previous owner had smoothed off everything, like all the mirrors, door handles, side marker lights, tail lights, unfortunately. So the only way I could get tail lights was to install a roll pan, and that's not kind of my look. So I found someone who had a long bed truck that they had shortened up the frame and wanted to do a short bed conversion and wanted more of a custom look to it. So I actually sold the bed for this truck 2020, June or something like that. So got rid of that, and then I really like step sides on these square bodies. I think they're just awesome. They look real cool. You know, I've had a couple of 60s trucks, a 66, a 63. Actually, I've had two 66 C10s and a 1963, so all the same body style. But I really like the wood beds on those, and with the step sides here, you put wood beds in them. So I've cut down planks for it. Just I think I went to Home Depot and bought some pine, and these came with southern yellowed pine from the factory initially, so that's actually not a bad choice for it. Oak would be better, but this was less than $100, and oak was going to be about $400 just for the wood. So anyway, I bought the wood, hand routed everything myself. Worked out pretty well. I fit the channels up in here. I bought a thing from Brothers Trucks, a complete brand new step side bed for this. So front panel, tailgate, the inner sides, fenders, and the steps. So I was pretty impressed with the quality and fitment of everything except the steps. They're a pain in the butt. They did not line up very well at all with the holes, and just the bend radiuses on them isn't quite right. There's a flange that bends down right here, and the fit up is kind of crappy compared to some of the factory ones that I've seen. So the driver's side I've already got done pretty well put together. The passenger side I don't at the moment, so we'll head on over there. I've got just a couple of bolts hanging the fender on, and what I need to go through and do, or something I did for the other side, was just to take my little burr bit and clean up the holes in the bed sides to match exactly the pattern for the nuts that are welded on the flanges on this thing. But yeah, I don't have the step in here. And this particular fender's got some heavier gauge scratches, and there's a little dent right there that came in from the factory. Then I made my own little whoop-de-doo right here. You can't see it in this light, but there's a vertical line. I was unplugging my little Ryobi stereo that's over there on the other side of the shop right here, and when I went and unplugged it, my arm swung over and I hit the side of the bed with the stereo. I put a dent in a brand new panel, but they didn't come in perfect. It was going to need a little bit of body work anyway, a little bit of filler work, so I'm not out that much for doing it. So this one, when they put the panel in the dies, it had stretched right here and actually cracked and split, so I'm going to need to weld up this section of that radius, which is annoying. But I've also lowered the truck, so on the front I've got drop spindles. On the back I put brand new drop shackles and hangers back here. So I've got new cross sills laid in right here. The rear cross sill, because the little hanger is taller up here, it moves the location of this pivot compared to the lower pivot higher up, which lowers the frame of the truck in comparison to it, but it raises it up past the point where the hat channel piece for this cross sill sits. So you have to actually notch these out. It is what it is. You know, you'll be sitting on the this rear sill will be holding a lot of the weight. This is going to have a wood bed in it, and I'm not throwing engines and transmissions and stuff in the back of this. It's parts runner, but it's more just a little, you know, cruise around truck. Make a fun driver out of this thing. So it's not going to be seeing super heavy service. I'm not that worried about it. It was something you have to do either with the step side or the fleet side bed. You have to notch out the factory cross sill to clear the swing of this thing. So now it's got about 1/8 of an inch clearance here. And it's got two holes, an upper and a lower location. So the front shackle, or the front bracket, it's got 2 inches of drop built into the front. And then back here, you've got another 1 or 2 inches built into that section. So initially I was looking at doing an axle flip kit, but that moved it even more. And I didn't want to have to change out the springs in the front end for lowering springs, as well as the spindles that I've got. So the drop spindles bring the front of the truck down 2.5 inches. Right now, with the stuff I got to change the location of the leaf spring attachment to the frame, it moves it down 4 or 3 inches depending on your location. I'll kind of see what I want to do. I might move this to the 3 location initially, and then see what it looks like. But they have kind of a forward brake from the factory anyway, so a 2.5 inch front spindle and a 4 inch rear drop is supposed to level it out. We'll see how it works. And then I might go ahead and do a spring swap on the front for like maybe a 1 inch drop spring. Not because it's my favorite way of lowering it. I like to keep the suspension geometry stock, but for this particular truck, I was going to put the 454 that's going in my 55 in here. So what I've got is the springs to support the weight of a 454 in here, which is going to be lifting it up higher. I don't have stock replacement springs, and if I'm going to go through the trouble of doing a spring swap, I might as well grab some that do like an inch drop, you know, not a heavy drop, but go for one with a spring rate that's appropriate for a small block or an LS swap, which I plan on doing eventually on this one. And then, you know, have the front up or front down 3.5 inches, and the rear would be pretty good here with the 4, and I think that'll look pretty sweet. But put on a aftermarket sway bar. All I got to do is drill the holes for the forward end links for that. I've got a rear mount underbed gas tank that I have on the way, so I'll be putting a center fill rear tank instead of the side saddle tank that it came with. I've got a 350 Goodwrench motor in here that I had in my 63 Chevy truck that I yanked that powertrain whenever I sold that truck 2 years ago. So I've got the Goodwrench 350 under that bag, 700 R4 monster transmission built tranny for this one. It was originally a Turbo 350C, so that's the Turbo 350 with a lock-up torque converter. That's still only 1-to-1, didn't have overdrive, so I put an overdrive in here. It's still got the rear end it came with. That's another item I eventually want to get around to replacing, because it's got a 273 rear end, which is like super tall. So that'll be interesting driving around. I have a feeling it's going to be a little sluggish with the like stock gutless cam and the Goodwrench motor. It's got no performance, iron heads, and you know, general cam that's like bleh. I think it's rated for 190 horsepower with, you know, like a 2-barrel intake and like cast manifolds and stuff, and then it's supposed to be like 260 with a 4-barrel intake and headers. Nothing to write home about. It was it was an inspiration going from my 230 straight 6 and that 63 C10 to putting just a plain 350 in it. It felt pretty peppy, but it's not really a peppy engine. So that's just kind of my get things up and running motor. Like, pull it out, put it in the next thing, put it in the next thing. Like I said, eventually I'm going to do an LS swap on this one. Just not ready for it right now, and likely do the 9-inch Outback like I do in the 55. Put all beefy stuff in there. I'd like to put a 6-liter in this truck with a cam, not turbocharged. I don't need 1,000 horsepower, but something a little more peppy than this, or even a fun 5.3. But the 350 will get it up and get it running. So that's kind of the plan for now. I can show here a little bit what I got going on with the doors. So, like I said, the previous owner had welded up and smoothed off the holes for the mirrors, which is fine because they come with those big ugly base mirrors. Functional, but not pretty. But yeah, the lock and the door handle were all smoothed over. So this was going to require a door popper system, which I was messing with. I actually got the mechanism that I'd installed. I got the popper here, which worked fine. The problem was the springs and the poppers that I got for it were not pushing the door open. It had kind of worn out hinges and needed the pin replaced in the door jamb that the latch goes into. So this thing didn't have the plastic bushing it's supposed to have on it, and it was worn out, and the doors were kind of bouncing around and sloppy, and they just didn't open whenever I hit it. It's supposed to, you push the button, it pulls the little solenoid here, pulls back on the handle, and then the spring, when you close the door, it pushes under spring tension, and then whenever you push a button and this pulls, it pops the door open so you can get your hand around it. Well, it wasn't doing that reliably, so I didn't roll the windows up because, yeah, didn't want to deal with that. Having to get into a locked up truck with no handles anywhere. So I found a guy in Illinois. He was selling a pair of new door shells, reproduction door shells, for like 50 bucks a piece. I was like, hard to pass that up. So I went and grabbed them. So these will actually have the proper handle. I can put a lock in there. And then I've got some better looking mirrors to put up here, some smaller round ones. I think that I can't remember if I ordered round or rectangulars, but the narrow bases, they just look a little better. And I'll see if I like those or if I want to put a door edge peep mirror, because I kind of like how those peep mirrors look on here. But you can drop a little comment and say which type you'd like to see. I'm not going back to those factory ones. I'm not towing a trailer with this thing. I don't need those big ugly ones. But anyway, got the core support stripped down. It has a little bit of rust issues that I need to knock out. I'm gonna paint that thing here soon. Got the door laid out. This is the driver door, kind of pulling those parts out. Got the new door over here. I already got a few things transferred over into there. So anyway, this is what I'll be getting to here over the winter. It's kind of my wintertime project, and my plan is for the channel here, I'll be working on this truck. I'll paint it in here and get it put together. I'd like to have it running and driving by the end of my, at least to go down the block and back, by the end of my leave time. So my son was born on November 4th. He came a couple of weeks early, but healthy and happy and fine. And I have 12 weeks of parental leave from work. So I've been able to get out here for several hours a day, which is a lot better than I had been able to do even before my wife was pregnant. Before, like, I wasn't able to make it out here every day, but she's like, go on, go have fun, get away, because I spend a lot of time helping, taking care of him, doing diapers, having all that fun stuff. So anyway, I'm going to work on this thing, get it put together, get it running and driving, and then everything's cleared out of the way, and next year is gung-ho on the 55, because I'm really itching to drive that thing. And I got myself off track with having that 57, and then, you know, all the issues that cropped up with my dad passing last year, and then my mom having some health issues, then my wife becoming pregnant. I've got my first son, it came. So this past year has been a lot more stuff going on than I had anticipated when I got that 55. So here I'm hoping I can wrap everything up that's kind of been in the way, all the little projects, get this truck up and going, and then I can get going on putting the dream card together. So anyway, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks to all the new subscribers, and stay tuned as I get working on this truck.